Hello, well, I've been busy making Christmas items, including my messenger bags, and in this whole process there's one tool I keep using, and that's the burnishing tool. Really indispensable, cheapest tool in the kit. And I mean, just on something like a bag like this, I'd be using it for going around the edges of the straps and flattening them down, working them down, getting a nice shine. I'd be using it around the edges of the flap, on the back. I'd be using it for going in and getting these nicely shaped. I'd use it for smoothing over and making the D-ring holders look nice. I'd use it on the handle to get that flattened down. I'd use it on the seams to get the sort of shaping. I just keep using it all over the place. It gets a lovely warm patina. And so I just thought I'd say a few little things about burnishing tools, and put you in the picture about why I like them. So there are two that I use most actually, and I'll start with this one. It's a very flat one. It probably started out life as a paper folder and creaser. I think it's probably baleen, whalebone, and it's a little bit flexible. Used to use that, didn't they, on fishing rods, corsets and things like that as a stiffener. I mean, I got this obviously in sort of with some old tools. I don't know if it would be appropriate to have it nowadays as it's part of a whale, but I'm making good use of it, so that's something. But it's very good for getting into the corners of pockets, and just to sort of get in and tease out and open out a pocket seam when you've been sewing something like a notebook cover, and it opens them out well. Gets in quite a good depth. It sort of cuts along smoothly. It's rounded on its end. It could be made out of wood, it will work just as well, but that's one I use quite a lot. The one I use most though is actually this one, and you can get these off of eBay from China very cheaply indeed, so in the UK about £1, and they're beech wood. They're nicely made. To be frank, they're not really worth even trying to make yourself because they're so cheap, and they're well designed because they've got a nice curve over that surface, which is great for going over items to flatten them slightly, and the curve doesn't dig in. It's got a point again for working into corners, a bit like I used the slim baleen one, and then it's got a series of grooves which are very good for doing like the edges of leather straps, and different thicknesses for different grooves. And actually, when I first saw one of these, I thought, oh, well, you match the groove to the thickness of the leather you're using. But actually, when you use them, go by the sort of circumference, diameter, sorry, the arc shape, what am I calling it, the indentation there. And it varies on each of the grooves. So you may find actually, if, say, you're doing a strap, you actually want to use the very wide one and rub it up and down, and it will polish the fibres of the leather and make them lay down nice and smoothly. That's really what it's all about, getting all your fibres going down in the one direction. You can also get these wooden ones which are round. Now the advantage of these is if you have a shape that you want to slick which isn't a straight edge, so it's a curve, and perhaps a very intricate curve, because obviously being round you can get in there, and again with that part of it you can get in and just clean things up and get them smoothed down. So in terms of smoothing, some people I know use moisture, some people use gum trag, some people let the dye do its work and then smooth it immediately after dyeing. So all different techniques you can do, but yeah, worth having a little play around with these, and I use them a lot. As I say, I've used this one endlessly, but it's a good tool and worth having in your leather accessory kit. So on this bag, as I say, all the straps, everything else has been done using that. I have made up power slickers. I've used Cocobolo power slickers. Personally, I don't like them. It's personal. Some people find them very good, so don't necessarily be put off those. I just like the fact that if you do it with your hand, you can actually get all the fibres going in the one direction. You can see what's happening. If you find an edge is getting slightly raised, you can quickly push it down again, and you can just keep a nice eye on what you're doing, and you can see what the fibres are doing, how they're going far more easily. I have found when I've been using, you know, a power slicker, it does do the job a bit quicker, although actually I hesitate to say that, but it's not so easy to control it, and you can sometimes find that you've slightly marked the edge of your leather and it doesn't look so good. So I personally do prefer using the hand tool, even though I do a lot of slicking with belts. But that's just a personal view. But certainly, as I say, one of these certainly worth having in your toolkit. I hope you found that one helpful, and thanks very much for watching. Bye then.